What's going on, guys? What's your po' boy? Tonight, I'll be able to hear it. Don't worry. I turned this headphone up, and this audio settings on the computer are going to be up, and you guys will be able to hear it, but you'll also be able to hear my inputs. Let me double check the mic setting. And yeah, let's see. Why in the fuck did he do that? Fucking dickwad. There we go. That's fixed. So, this evening, hopefully this is my final recording attempt at watching, reacting, and responding to the video here by Mr. Joey Schwartz. This is going to be hot. Trust me.
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well today. Just want to preface this by saying if you want the same eat meat, drink water idea regurgitated, then go watch some other carnivore channels.
That's for strict carnivore, and you missed out the dash of salt aspect from that one. And that's the mainstream carnivore advice is eat meat, the flesh and fat of animals, and any animal products that work with you. And there you go. And that's it. And keep it low carb and shit. Don't go too crazy. That's the mainstream carnivore advice. The mainstream carnivore advice is a fucking canvas for creativity for animal products. Raw, cooked, rare, medium rare, or any of that. And it can bring out potentiality for real solutions to make things possible. It's just crazy. You're peddling what is for strict carnivory, and then and then claiming that's mainstream carnivory. That's a bit dishonest, Joey. Not liking this.
If you want to hear the truth that they haven't realized yet, then stick around. I also want you to consider my incentives in making a video like this. This is the way I like to look at the world now. Like, what are they incentivized to do?
If you want to advance that, check out what the hell is Praxeology and the literature for it. If you're willing. So, this will advance your understanding of incentives. It'll change your worldview on a hell of a lot of stuff. So, please consider the suggestion, Joey.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. Carnivore is blowing up right now.
And the fact that it even has to blow up shows how disconnected we are from the way reality is and our bodies function for practically a century now. Which is really fucking depressing now that I think about it. Oof.
I'm making a video like this that's going against a lot of the standard carnivore ideas.
Well, put that to the test and see.
I could easily stick to it and grow my channel a lot more if I were to just adhere, but I'm not going to do that because I don't believe that the standard carnivore diet, the average one that you are all probably doing, is right. So I'm going to give my critiques, and I want you to really think about why I'm doing this. It's not to grow the channel, right? I did the video on Ken Berry, lost a lot of subscribers because people were angry about it. They were angry that I was criticizing him for endorsing coffee.
And from what I've seen in that video so far, as I've watched, I hadn't watched it fully yet because I'm going to do my reaction to it then, but my own watch, react, and respond style to that pretty soon. And three issues I saw so far. Neither of you or Doc Berry, just like a lot of the public, a lot of people online as well, do not really think about some of the anti-nutrient factor than how phosphoric acid can worsen and magnify the iron and metabolism and the metabolism of other minerals in the body, how they can be fucked with. It can magnify caffeine's ability to fuck with those metabolisms. So Think about that. Probably, and it's overlooked, and wrongfully so. And it's sad because we need to bring it more to light. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm not the first motherfucker to do it, but I think I'm the first motherfucker to put emphasis on it online. To take serious looking into. But what's funny is phosphoric acid is so easy to remedy. It's fucking ridiculous. That's why chemistry illiterate like me and I went into this shit, looked into it for a while. I even made an invention I'm going to talk about one day in the future as well. It's in this mucka pot of mine. I've got a clue if you watch my Greek style coffee brewing videos from back in the day. The Greek style. The construction of the briquette that I used is one of the two clues. I'll talk about that in that video one day. If you want to check out my video, I forgot to upload when I uploaded it months ago, like last year, reacting and responding to Saladino's video on coffee. And finally realized I was like, fuck, I need to upload this around recently. So I did, and please check that out. It's in the description below, and it's got its own references to back my claims about phosphoric acid as well. And I'm just using that in the links about coffee side effects to point you to the direction I'm trying to walk you into it, to why I'm putting this out there so much. So there's that part's overlooked. So you both have the same problem a lot of the people in general have. Just, I think, ignorance and just it's overlooked. We do that sometimes. We're only mortal creatures. We're mortal creatures. So that's going to happen. Then there's two is your lack of nuance of good and bad. There's good and bad in coffee. You lack nuance in that. And three, Dr. Barry was a little bit off about the consumption of coffee across the board. The 500-year, around 500-year metric is only true for Europe. For Japan, it was around, and maybe Japan, maybe a little less. It's been consumed in Ethiopia and Yemen and the Arabian Peninsula for longer than that. So I'll go into that when I make that recording. Anyways, let's continue on.
I'm doing this video because I believe that what I'm going to tell you is correct, and I believe that we are not eating optimally if we're eating an only cooked meat diet from conventionally raised animals. Those are going to be the points of this video. So, okay, let's just get right into it then. If your carnivore diet consists of cooked conventionally raised ground beef, cooked eggs, and pasteurized dairy, you are not eating a healthy diet. Absolutely not. And the fact that people have convinced themselves that eating this way is healthy is kind of beyond me.
I have my own issues with pasteurized dairy, but I'll talk about that in a future video. I'll get some water in a little bit. Anyway. So, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you guys about this in another video when I go into sustainable dairy. So, you'll see it then.
Like pasteurized dairy, conventional meat, cooked foods. This is crazy. Okay.
What's so crazy about eating cooked food? We've been doing it for 1.8 million years as far as we know. Yeah, there's both raw and cooked meats and stuff. Sure. All cultures have varying degrees of both. Not just one or the other. So, there's a lot of people doing cooked meats and they're still doing alright. So, I don't get it. I really don't.
In this video, I'll explain what's probably wrong with your carnivore diet, the way you're doing it. And you're probably not going to want to hear this, but it's really not as simple as eat meat, drink water, thrive.
Again, that's strict Carni, and you forgot the dash of salt to taste aspect. There's three components to that strict carnivore idea, dietary idea. and it's really an autoimmune test. Is what it's what it is. It's an autoimmune and fat loss test to see what happens if there's anything getting in your way for your weight loss, of losing more weight and getting down to your ideal body weight. It's a way of finding underlying issues you might have in your body. It's not mainstream Carni. Mainstream carnivore, again, is flesh and fat of animals and whatever animal products that work for you. And keep it low carb. And that's mainstream carnivore advice. What the fuck are you talking about? And 100 years ago, when they started centralizing cattle and dairy, beef and dairy cattle and feedlotting them, they didn't have as much hygiene practicing as they do nowadays, although I still say it could be improved upon in multiple areas. They had Bovid tuberculosis outbreaks that killed women, men, and children. Thousands of children died. And Louis Pasteur was like, you know what? Maybe I need to pasteurize this. Let me bring my heat treatment experiment. Bad, they're so fucking big. Just jumped in my lap. So let's see if I can do this heat treatment on milk, and he did, and it killed the back microbes. It killed it, and yeah, it fucking worked. It killed the Bovid tuberculosis, stopped the outbreaks. But the underlying ways they fed the animals and the conditions they lived under at the time were what allowed that to be even more probable to happen than if they did better. But it was still more likely to happen anyway. And they didn't develop actual, Bovid tuberculosis vaccination strategies until many years later. So, we're going to agree to disagree here.
Years ago, maybe
I know about cows. I assure you.
it would be more true. It would be definitely more true, but
Again, I just nuked the fuck out of that. Agree to disagree.
wouldn't be fully true still. But now, this is not even a good way to eat at all. Like, this is not a good diet.
The fuck? Then why are tens of thousands of motherfuckers across the globe and growing are doing it and getting results and healing underlying conditions and all that shit? Why is that happening then? Riddle me that, Joey.
So it's incredibly ironic to me that people go carnivore to eat a natural diet, and yet they eat feedlot beef, the most unnatural conditions under which the animal is placed. It's kind of very, very strange to me. The whole idea, at least from what I've gotten, is that we can't outsmart our bodies.
We're arrogant in thinking we can, though.
So why do we think that we can put animals in these horrible environments and we can still reap the benefits of good nutrition?
Because we are. In spite of the negatives and the intricacies that are downsides to the varying steps to feedlotting the beef, we still get decent nutrition out of them in spite of that. And another thing to consider is the fact that you get less SOD, you get less glutathione, you get less of certain vitamin E and other certain antioxidants and vitamin compounds and stuff like that in animal form, in liver and then organs and then muscle meat and animal fat to certain degrees. And the omega-3 omega-6 ratios are shifted completely because they had to use those nutrients to deal with to get rid of the herbicide, pesticide, fungicide, insecticide residues, because it's a foreign material. They have to detoxify that from the system. So the liver is burdened to do that, so it has to take that burden up by taking nutrients and of those kinds in the body to fuel itself. It's for the cells to fuel themselves in order to get rid of that shit. Yes, the tests of those residues of those varying types in beef is benign or very little. That should be a testament to the power of the detoxification pathways we still don't really fully understand to this day. We got a decent understanding, but we don't fully, we're not quite fully there as we could be. As far as I will know, I could be wrong. There could be updates more but as far as I know, that should be a testament to how fucking badass that is, in spite of being pounded upon. Fucking, in spite of being repeatedly and constantly fucked with, it's still going. It's still doing the job that decently. So, well, they're doing the jobs necessary that decently. That should be a testament to that. But that's just me. What the fuck do I know? I helped take care of cattle a couple times, and I'm just a spurg from the south. What the fuck do I know, huh?
From them. We can't do that even close to the amount we could from good animals.
Well, just to improve the feedlot conditions. Get rid of property tax. Get rid of precious metal and crypto tax. Completely abolish them. Property tax is extortion, pure and simple. Anyone disagrees can go get shot somewhere, and I fucking mean that. They can do it themselves. Start a shotgun, and make sure it fires. I want the ceilings painted with their fucking brain fluids. Fuck them to hell. Then, and even economics explained that Keynes Tard even admitted it about minimum wage. And here's the clip.
And big disclaimer time, it's not a solution I personally think that most economies are ready for, but it's actually true. A $0 minimum wage would lead to zero unemployment. No business would pass up on a super cheap employee so long as they don't actively hurt the company or distract from other employees. Now, the obvious issue with this is that it allows low-skilled or vulnerable employees to be taken advantage of. But here's the thing, businesses only employ people as an absolute last resort. People are expensive and very hard to get rid of if they don't work out. No business is going to hire someone, even at minimum wage, unless they were absolutely sure that that worker was going to make more money for the business than the additional expenses that they create. This is to say that most employees should still be able to negotiate a salary which is at or above minimum wage. But
there you go. Properly summed up. So anyways, let's get back.
Even close to the amount we could from good animals, and I'm going to get into this a bit more in the next few minutes. But I just encourage you to ponder the question, are farmers smarter than nature?
If you're a transhumanist, you're leaning in that utopian direction of yes. If you're an industrialist, you're arrogant and think so as well. But I'm willing to say no and be a little have a dose of humility and reality. Strike my brain a few more times than they will and say no. Don't get me started on that. Hence why I've become more of an eco-capitalist and an eco-modernist myself because of it. Anyways, I'll cite a book if you guys want to read into it and see for yourself. Go right ahead. Check it out.
Are these farmers who are putting these cows into deplorable conditions?
Conditions that can be fixed by turning the shit piss slurry lakes into biomethane digesters, and those tax removals permanent tax abolishments that I just listed, and the minimum wage to the government abolishment and replacing it with mutual aid worker fraternities and unions and societies, communal collective bargaining, non-corporate unions, non-corporate through the government by any at all, and non-corporate guilds. Basically expanding on the original Scandinavian model for minimum wage agreements that Kyle Kalinske, David fuck-ass Packman, and the TYT fuckers are going to lie to your faces about, and other socialists are going to lie to your face about, instead of the government-mandated one, because it worked better. That's why, and it was a market minimum wage, and it still worked. It worked for many years, so it's a testament to its efficacy. And when everything gets cheapened, and things deflate enough, because just doing these things alone, you could start investing in UVB lamps for the cattle and the feedlots in the colder seasons. The warmer seasons, you can have sunroofs to open up, let sunlight in, so they can get that sunlight. Hire more people at lower entrance level cleanup work at the feedlots to help, increase the sanitation effort at the feedlots and let better air circulation in there too. Boom. You fixed most of that problem already, so they're not standing in their own shit piss as much anymore. And you generate fucking biomethane, extend the natural gas supply massively. Germany was doing that for fucking until, I don't know, bullshitting by Merkel and some others in 2014 and 2015. But you wouldn't know that. These guys I listed, the neocons, like your Shapiros and all these other motherfuckers, they're not going to tell you that. They aren't going to mention it. And if they didn't know, so be it. But the point is, if they did know, they wouldn't give a fuck enough to tell you because they all got access to grind. They're the mainstream. I swear they ain't, but they are. That's what it's like to be controlled up, folks. Anyway, that's
smarter than nature, and the answer is no.
We agree. They're not smarter than nature. But I just gave you an eco-modernist and more market-oriented, freed-up market-based solutions to and technical issues addressing solutions to actually fix those conditions. With science, motherfucker!
Okay, so feedlot beef. A lot of these animals are grazed on pasture, but not for the whole time. So in the last year or so, the cows tend to no longer graze. Instead,
the grazing that they do is not optimal. It's a continuous grazing model, and you can see these negative side effects here, the negative effects there. And another thing you could do with feedlot is manage rotational graze, the cattle and other animals, like the, so on and so forth. And that would also fix a lot of environmental issues on feedlot beef. Just doing this before sending them to the feedlots. Just manage graze the fuckers. You won't have this over here and doing this before taking them to the feedlots. Instead, you'll actually have better wildlife, more microbial diversity, more rainfall absorption, more carbon sequestering, methane sequestering, healthier animals. Fewer parasites, although as someone who's helped fucking worm and antibiotic needle inject cattle a couple times and witnessed a few veterinarians do it, I would still advocate fucking taking a preventative worming every so often, just like you would if you were continuously grazing, Still do that, regardless. Anyways, moving on.
they're put in feedlots and they're fed trash.
Let's see how much it's actually trash, shall we? Let's go into it. Look at there. 86% we don't eat. That's byproducts, oilseed cakes, fodder crops, crop residues, 46% grasses and leaves, and then there's grains that were technically edible to us, and then other edibles. And then other non-edibles. The other edibles could be food waste that's not recycled, and non-edibles could be food waste that could be spoiled or just be right before spoiling certain kinds. Now, I think the grains should be distiller grain. I'll read this off to you. See this little corn statistics segment from the National Corn Growers Association here? This is a symbol that's marked percentages out of the statistics to demonstrate how things could be better. This is the little mark I did. It's a gray circle with a black filling in the middle. Corn when intercropped with fava beans, one row of favas next to one row of corn. Over-yielded in the same acres with corn by 43. Oops, I need to swap that symbol. I fucked up. I bumped the wrong button. Typed too fast. 43% in favas by 46% with nitrogen high, phosphorus piss poor dirt. Imagine if you strip tilled with mulch between the rows. This looks a little something like this. Pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, insecticide uses will be drastically dropped. Quite a bit. Animal deaths will be dropped quite a bit too. I'm teaching y'all some fucker shit today, ain't I? Imagine if you did this, and then occasionally added Wallach's blooming minerals and aquaponics excess fertilizer down the road on occasion at some point. You would start regenerating the soil. All these marked down corn segments can be distilled into dry distillers' grains with solubles, which part of 85% at most can have corn oil extracted, which has fewer steps to make in this case than making corn oil from regular corn for the store shelves. And instead it goes into biodiesel where it fucking belongs. Then the distiller's grain that's reduced fat can be fed to cattle, moistened or not at most 20% by dry weight, and with sprouts or freshly mowed grasses. I will admit the aquaponics grown sprouts are better due to less infrastructure, and back 2013 a company called Portable Farms advanced aquaponics enough to make 70,000 pounds of vegetables and 20,000 pounds of fish. It's just a fourth of an acre. Now imagine adjusting this to growing sprouts and selling a side profit of clean fish like tilapia through something like Walmart's market side butcher program. We're talking going McCafferty Farms in this bitch. This is just from turning the corn into ethanol fuel for making gasoline engine burn cleaner, biodiesel for the local farming equipments, and reduced distiller's grain at 20% at most as an additive ration for animal feed that works better than the original corn. No acidosis of the cattle. Kick ass, right? Distilling should ideally be done in the distillery co-ops like in Germany from 1887 to just before the commies and Nazis raped that out of existence. In Germany, fuck all socialism to hell. Fuck them all, including socialism with the money supply. Fuck all of you. Now for higher dairy and dairy fat yields, you can add in hemp seed cake. You can add that into the hemp seed cake equation. Seed cake, oil seed cake equation there. That also makes a very kick-ass biodiesel. And 2-month instilled purslane. What inspired that was looking into purslane and looking at the disability and nitrogen balance studies in pigs-fed diets with instilled taro leaves. That's a partial or replacement, partial to full replacement of fish meal. So anyways, continuing on.
The stuff that humans don't eat.
Yeah, and that includes that grass and the greenery they fucking eat. And this, by the way, this little regen feedlot model that I give, and I'm presenting in open source completely, can easily be tweaked and modded upon as a baseline for anyone in any country to be more self-sufficient in a profitable manner and domestically, to help themselves out and bolster themselves and to modify for the better. Instead of the Dutch doing the global homos fucking dirty work, trying to tell the farmers to go fuck themselves and starting unironic BOOGs over there, like fucking rejects that they are.
From the corn, the grains, the soy.
Soy in small doses is fine. Most soy is used for its soybean oil anyway, which I argue that 68% that's in our food supply needs to be taken out and put into the biodiesel supply with the other 25%. Simple as. There needs to be all that 93% oil needs to be biodiesel. Simple as. Get it out of my food! And crop rotating with strip tilling that I'm talking about off of the fields that are being done, this right here that I described, read out to you guys, will improve soy yields over time as well and regen the fucking ground. Contribute to regenning the ground.
The stuff that isn't suitable for us. So, because of what conventionally raised cattle eat in the latter parts of their lives, when you eat this meat and dairy, you're intaking pesticides, herbicides, GMO residue, antibiotics.
Funny how I fucking addressed that with the feedlot fixed technical issues, the way fixed feedlots for the better, and this agriculture strategy. Look how funny how this works on for us. Am I right?
Antibiotics, steroids.
Look at me. I'm giving you fucking solutions with real solutions. Things with as few trade-offs as possible, playing off of what Thomas Sowell's always said. But partially disagreeing.
estrogen, other hormones. This is not good stuff.
I'll link the Miss Judy Cho's link about estrogens and meat, and we'll see who knows what.
A lot of people talk about E. coli. E. coli is a
I think I addressed that too with the acidosis and all that shit. With the different fixes to these stages of feedlotting system, and ideally a decentralized manner too. That gives local economies more bolstering and more resilience.
product of a corn-based diet in cows that creates acidosis in the bovine rumen. This condition allows acid-resistant E. coli to develop. So a Cornell study actually found that switching cattle from grain to hay for the last 2 weeks of their lives reduced E. coli, and the chances of contracting E. coli from 100% grass-fed beef are like none. Like,
I wouldn't say none. That's silly. But it's much lower. It's much lower. It's not zero. Never. That's being cocky. That's being a little too sure of yourself. Like the pro-industrialistic types I've butted heads with over the years. That can't think about the flaws of their ideology and looking how to improve themselves beyond that. You know, still stuck in that mentally static, if you will. Very depressing arguing with those fucks, and they could be really smart sons of bitches too, regardless. But anyway,
basically none. So people are worried about raw meat. No, you don't worry about the raw meat. You worry about the source of the meat to make sure it's healthy meat.
You worry about raw meat by how safely handled it is, and the source of the animal. You worry about both raw meat and the source of it. Fuck me, this is so dumb.
Next, mad cow disease. What people don't know about this is that when you eat the brain of a grass-fed animal, you can't, whether it's raw or cooked, you're not going to get mad cow disease. The thing is, if you cook the brain of an animal that was not grass-fed, you're way more likely to get the mad cow disease since you...
There are deer that get prion diseases like mad cow, and their bodies have to be incinerated to prevent or minimize an outbreak. And when outbreaks happen, they gotta fucking kill them, scoop them up, and incinerate them. Are you fucking kidding me? Grass-fed animals can get mad cow too. Even though he gets his wording wrong, I appreciate his partial self-correcting by putting that text there. You can't cook to as high a heat as you need to get rid to denature or destroy a prion. Anyways, I'll let this continue.
You can't destroy it with heat. You can't destroy what's causing mad cow disease with heat. Okay? Antibiotics. So obviously feedlot life for cattle is horribly stressful.
And I've already addressed the multiple ways to fix that in all the different stages of farming, all that shit.
Because
which, by the way, would benefit from my cleaner my cleaner burning and my better running and cleaner burning whatever diesel mods video. They would benefit from that mod video too. And the video I did addressing Scotty Kilmer's video about diesels. Farmers, may I suggest check those two videos out as well?
Diet that they eat and the concentration of penned animals lead to numerous health problems. The feedlot cattle are given antibiotics so they don't contract fatal diseases.
And all sorts of different shots out the ass repeatedly too while we're at it. And yeah, even all sorts of stuff. Plus, they got to give them little vitamin supplement pills that make sure they have everything. Which that part I'm not against. I would still consider doing that regardless of doing everything else with the organic farming and all. I would still consider that, you know, because why the fuck not? And everything and all that grass-fed pasturing and all that would be added value on top of that. That's how I would look at it. But that's just me. Fuck do I know?
Antibiotics are also given to promote growth. They also receive growth hormones. The omega-6 to 3 ratio is totally out of whack. Glyphosate is sprayed on the meat that is not organic. So most meat is obviously not organic. So if you're not eating organic meat, you're getting glyphosate in you, just because the glyphosate is sprayed on the food that the cow eats.
I think I talked about this already, this particular area.
Glyphosate, I did a video on it. It's extremely dangerous, maybe one of the most dangerous agriculture innovations in the last century.
From the available evidence, it's the same danger as taking antibiotics all the time and killing your fucking immune system, because you're killing bacteria in your gut that need to rely on the Shikimori pathway to survive as part of their in order to live, and they then work with your immune cells and do all the shit that they do. So yeah, it's the same. It'd be largely the same. It'd probably be the same danger as just taking antibiotics and overdosing on them. So and from saying it from that perspective, I don't disagree. The claims about lymphoma and all the other stuff is too contradictory. There's too much contradictory evidence on both sides for me to set on the single conclusion for that, to say pro or against. So I won't say.
Extremely harmful. So you can look at studies online showing that the aforementioned toxic components of conventional beef are benign.
Which is a testament to the detoxification processes that they still have and still endure in spite of being impacted so fucking much and so nastily and so heavily. I believe I talked about this already. Yeah, they lose certain nutritional qualities and the things I listed and some more, because that's going to happen. That's what the liver and other organs use to keep themselves to work, to do what they need to do in order to work that shit out of the systems. It's just what they do.
Believe those if you want, but why on earth would you believe those? The meat and dairy industries are incentivized to make you believe that in the same way the government is incentivized to make you believe that.
Deliberately poisoning people to outright murder them, purely business ethic perspective, is unsound. Making people sick because the government tells them to, or they make them incorporate into them. You know, the corporate structure for the last 3,000 to 4,000 years has been statist. I have a whole fucking grant on that. Imagine, so that's like, hey, we'll give you some tax benefits. We'll give you some incentives to join this corporation system we made. You incorporate into us, we get these kickbacks and perks. But then when they join, okay, this is what you're gonna do, and you're gonna listen to us, or we're gonna fucking rape you. So it's ultimately a government structure. It always has been. Ultimately, think of someone that's got that kind of power. Maybe they don't need that power at all. Maybe that power structure shouldn't exist. But then a lot of people disagree on this, because I think everyone else. I'm pretty sure everyone else has been ethically retarded, or worse than that. That's just me. But I think a lot of that's government telling them to do this and that and the other, and I don't think all of it's deliberate. It's a little bit, but it's big pharma. Big pharma is a corporate statist, fucking corrupt network. Same with big food and big agro. But it required a statist government structure for that to exist in the first place. So, but purely business perspective, that's not the case. Purely business, person to person, selling goods and services perspective, this is not the case. Because you're poisoning your customer base. It's kind of like what happened when JBS sold rotten meat out to the market. They would have gotten in trouble by the rest of the world if they didn't bribe politicians to shut shit up. But just more proof of what I'm saying, okay? Let's just concede to what I'm saying, folks, and let's move the fuck on. This is not... That's this way, shit's, my God, it's the way it works. It's always been.
They want you to think that the conventional agricultural practices are fine and healthy and all.
And anyone that believes them is fucking retarded. No, it's worse than retarded. Malignantly moronic and opinionated and are fuck asses.
All is good, right? They want you to think that because if you come to the realization, if you come to the true understanding that the conventional meat is bad, we have a huge problem on our hands. We have a huge problem because all meat is conventionally grown, essentially, like over 95% of it. So we have a big problem on our hands. Of course, they want you to think that the non-organic meat is healthy and that the glyphosate and the antibiotics don't matter. Of course.
Again, I pretty much addressed most of this shit already.
Of course they want you to think that, right? Don't fall into that trap. This is not safe meat to eat. And then for those of you who...
We're going to agree to disagree then.
Additionally, say prioritize the fat in these animals that are conventionally raised, well, that's dangerous. Because if it's feedlot beef, that's where the toxins concentrate. They don't concentrate.
Some concentrate in the muscles. Some and the water solubles don't concentrate. They get expelled more easily. The fat solubles do. They normally get shit has to be really, really fucking bad in order to start beginning to concentrate in the fatty tissues to any meaningful, really noticeable degree. I just said why, and I said this is that as little as as little as it will or does on average at worst is a testament to their ability to fucking process and detox that shit out of them. Something to really consider, dude.
Concentrate in the protein, they concentrate in the fat. Just make sure you eat meat that is organic. Ideally pastured, grass-fed, and finished. Just organic is really, really key. And no antibiotics. I believe those are synonymous. Maybe.
Nope. Go for certified, humanely fed and handled. Go for grass-fed, grass-finished. Go for pastured. Go for no hormones ever. No antibiotics ever. There you go. You can apply all these to pigs and chickens and eggs and poultry in general. Excuse me, too. You're welcome.
Maybe not, though. Now that I've addressed conventional meat, can that
You didn't really.
problem simply be fixed by eating cooked ground beef from a grass-finished organic source plus the grass-finished pasteurized dairy and cooked organic eggs from chickens that are pastured? No, the diet that I just described is not good either. It's really not good. It fixes a problem, but it doesn't fix the whole entire problem. There's more to it than just that. The next problem is too much cooked meat. Now, people then go ahead and say, well, how about the
Sure about that?
Inuit? How about the Maasai? The Inuit ate only raw meat, basically. So
They ate cooked meat when they could cook it, when they could keep a fire going. But yes, they largely ate raw meat and they did fine. That doesn't really change the fact we've been eating both raw and cooked, and sometimes largely cooked, sometimes raw when we can get a hold of it as Homo for 1.8 million years, as far as we know.
that's out the window. You want to eat a natural diet. It's not cooked meat, at least not exclusively. The Maasai eat like 60% raw milk and raw blood. So you think that you're doing your cooked meat diet with, even if it's grass-fed, grass-finished beef, you think that's natural or ancestral? It's not. Even by the Maasai and Inuit standards, it's not at all. I actually had an issue of my own with too much cooked meat, and I didn't tell anyone this, but I'm going to tell it now. And I was brushing my teeth at one point, and I was brushing, and I was just tons of blood. Like, so much blood in my mouth. I hadn't ever had this before. It was just tons of blood, and it happened for the next few days. It didn't stop until I started eating raw meat. I was in the early stages of scurvy. And people like to make a joke out of this, carnivore can't cause scurvy, whatever. Yes, it can. Of course it can, because as I'm going to get into, these nutrients are heat sensitive. Vitamin C is extremely heat sensitive, and I wasn't even eating fully cooked meat. I was just doing a quick sear on my steaks, but I was not getting enough vitamin C from the meat, and so I developed early stages of scurvy. I also had other symptoms that were representative of scurvy, like sort of in the early stages. Of course, that's gone now. I eat raw meat. I'm totally fine, feeling better.
Folks, if you don't want that to happen, just cook it rare or medium rare. You'll be fine. Don't do that with pork. Only do that with ruminants like beef. Okay? If you're going to do that. Beef's more strictly wormed than pigs. Although I wish that weren't as often the case, but but it is. Anyway.
But it wasn't good. It really was not good. Eating only cooked meat for some people could be fine, but I think my threshold for vitamin C is just higher. And so, are you going to say that I'm lying? Like, what I say?
I never thought you was lying about anything you said so far. I still don't think you're lying. I think you're misguided as fuck, and you should have consulted a few motherfuckers before you jumped the gun like you clearly have.
When people say, carnivore diets cause scurvy, all the vegans say that, and there's actual stories to back that up. Are you going to say that they're lying? I don't think so.
No, just like I'm not going to say you're lying either.
So I think it's too much cooked meat. Now, here I'm going to show a couple actual stories of people getting scurvy from eating too much cooked meat.
The lack of nutrition got the better of him. However, when a trip to the doctor a few weeks later revealed that he was developing symptoms of scurvy.
I just lived on mince, some chicken, maybe with some mayonnaise, a little bit of, and it took me about 6 to 8 weeks to get very, very unhealthy, see a doctor, who then said, I think you've got the symptoms of scurvy.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
My cousin is actually now recovering from his stint of eating the carnivore diet and has been recommended by a doctor to switch immediately to a vegan diet.
And that doc's a fucking quack for saying vegan. Fuck that motherfucker.
Why? Because after several months without eating any fruit, he developed scurvy.
It's almost like a little lemon juice or lime juice in filtered water or spring water or whatever. It's almost like that would have fixed that shit real quick. The fuck? It's almost like that we have lemons and limes. It's not what the fuck. It's almost like we don't have that. What the fuck, man? It's like they don't think about shit like that. Simple shit too. Like, blows my fucking mind.
Scurvy is an old disease nearly eradicated from humanity until recently.
As this study titled Infantile Scurvy, A Historical Perspective points out, the increased incidence of infantile scurvy during the period was attributed to the usage of heated milk and proprietary foods. It was the heating of the milk that started to increase the incidence of scurvy.
At least he's using this correctly, thank God. Or for the most part anyway, at least. And yeah, raw milk had the raw milk from a properly raised animal will have a little bit of vitamin C in it. Surprise, surprise. Not really.
Pasteurizing milk. That's what did it. That is mind-blowing, right? That is mind-blowing. We start cooking things, and the incidence of scurvy goes up significantly. So vitamin C actually begins to denature at temperatures as low as 86 degrees Fahrenheit, according to a study in the International Journal of Scientific and Technology Research. The negative effects of heat increase significantly at 140 degrees and even more at 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, I want to bring back to this main point. You have YouTubers who are saying that carnivore can't cause scurvy. I said that myself. I was dumb. But if that's true, then why are people getting scurvy on carnivore? Are you going to say that they're lying? No, it's too much cooked meat. Now, you may think that the risks of a poor carnivore diet can be attenuated with a vitamin C supplement. But it's not just vitamin C. Taurine, for example, is an amino acid found in parts of the animal that have the liquids, so things like blood, milk. Since there is a long time between the slaughter of the animal and the time we eat it, taurine gets depleted. So then when you cook the meat and you heat all the juices, the taurine gets destroyed even further. We're not getting very
Not that it's destroyed, but the fluids of there's a reason why you want to make broths or or something like that. You want to catch the fucking juices of the meat and slurp it up. That's where the taurine is. Or again, cooking rare, medium rare. If you're not a pussy, would fucking minimize taurine loss, and they already lower than originally slaughtered taurine. Meat.
much taurine at all. Harry Serpanos talks a lot about this.
Yes.
Taurine is good for conjugating bile acids, acting as an antioxidant, reducing inflammation,
Regulating minerals, regulating fluids, all sorts of shit across the board.
managing homocysteine, and helping with anxiety and depression by modulating GABA a little bit. In a natural context, we actually have lots
Broad spectrum homeostatic potential as well.
of taurine, and rats with iron overload had their liver damage significantly reduced when they added back in taurine. This is just another one. So we have vitamin C, taurine. Now we have the 8 complex B vitamins, all of which are heat sensitive and are water soluble. Anything water soluble is heat sensitive. Most Americans are deficient in B vitamins because they eat no raw meat. The cooking of meat messes with the actual availability, the content of B vitamins. There's also minerals like sodium, potassium, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, manganese, copper. As this study points out, to clarify the cooking losses of minerals, various food materials were analyzed before and after cooking, and the following results were obtained. The mineral content of cooked foods in mass cooking were on average about 60 to 70% of those in raw or uncooked foods. Okay, there you go. We're losing minerals as well when we
It depends on the cooking method. If there is or isn't pressure involved, the timing, the temperatures, it's so variable. It's unfucking real. The generalizations are fucking terrible in these cooked versus raw things. I swear to God. That's so subjectively variable.
cook meat. It's even shown that phosphorus cauterization process begins at 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which is why they look to phosphorus in milk to see if it still exists, right? So when they pasteurize milk, they check the phosphorus content to make sure all of it is completely destroyed, so that way
It's not destroyed. Go read a fucking milk carton of regular milk, for fuck's sakes. Explain that shit.
they know that it's been pasteurized, right? They look to nutrient destruction to actually
Are we... Oh my fucking God, shoot me. This is cringe.
extrapolate whether or not this milk has had the stuff destroyed. Is it properly pasteurized? It's kind of funny when you think about that, right? Also, fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and E are 15 to 70% destroyed, I believe, at 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Vitamin K is stable, but you have A, D, and E, which are
And then C as well.
denatured and not as usable for us.
That's why they add mainly add vitamin D into it for the most part, and D3. Sometimes lanolin derived. Sometimes steak.
Also, enzymes are destroyed at 105 degrees
Very much so.
Fahrenheit. So enzymes are basically protein structures that help us use nutrients. If we destroy all the enzymes by cooking our food, what happens is we need the pancreas to secrete enzymes, which exhausts the pancreas and tires it out. All of these are very, very important to consider. People say, oh, well, we can make our own enzymes. This is stressful. We have the enzymes in meat and raw meat that can help digest it for us. Also, the stomach acid required to digest raw meat is significantly less than cooked meat. So if you're eating only
The reason I'm not replying to every single fucking piece is I'm sticking in my lane from what I know. And I still hold myself able to be completely wrong where I could be easily wrong. I got my sense of ego was molested more times than fucking a kid on Epstein's Island.
cooked meat, it's just more of a burden on the body to produce more stomach acid. There's also toxic byproducts in cooked meat that people tend to not really explain. I mean, we've known forever about advanced glycation end products via the Maillard reaction.
Are you going to send a citation to us about the glycation end products and oxidized stuff? And hydrocarbons? Because I know you're going to get there, because I've rehearsed this multiple times. Are you going to send that? No. Sadly, no. You're not.
Right, and people like to say, well, you don't want to eat AGEs, so you avoid toasting your bread or whatever. How about the meat? Like, when you put a sear and you have that crust, that's just advanced glycation end products. That's all that it is. So there's a clear logical disconnect here when people eat a carnivore diet and they say, well, this is great because I'm not eating the carbohydrates that are going to cause advanced glycation end products in the body. When they're consuming cooked meat that has advanced glycation end products on them, right? So something's not quite right there.
Sad we don't have a good citation of any kind to any meaningful degree to see for the amounts thereof. It's sad we don't have that.
So back to the point. You have heterocyclic amines from protein and you have lipid peroxide from fat, just to name several. I'm going to do a video on this, but I think one reason Paul Saladino does better is because he eats his cooked meat with fruit.
Okay. You're full of shit. He's glycating himself and he's going to age himself faster. It's going to happen. And he's in fucking inducing the Randall cycle all the fucking time. 400 grams of carbohydrate down his fucking silly gullet a day, a minimum. At the very least, a day. And then the raw organs of all types, including not being careful with liver and spleen as well. Dumbass!
Which seem to have the effect of buffering some of those negative properties of cooked meat.
Yeah. I'm going to press X to doubt on that.
Augenus Wunderplanets talks about this in his book.
We want to live. Augenus Wunderplanets. The fucknut who thought viruses were detox agents for our bodies was a denialist about pathogenic bacteria, mold, and yeast. Inspired Milk Jar's twin bro and Spheria to be a parasitism denialist. Because just like them two fucktards, he didn't know what the fuck parasitism fucking meant. Reminds me of a fucking story dealing with Augenus follower. Androgynous follower, I meant to say. This shit's cringing me so bad. It's making it harder for me to talk. And it's also pissing me off. There was a dude who argued with me about parasitism, and I said, dude, do you know what it means? A parasite is to live at the expense of another, whether inside or outside the host. What about green bottlefly maggots? And then I used a Wikipedia reference against them, makes antibiotic, antimicrobial, broad spectrum secretions to protect themselves when they eat through dead flesh and garbage. That's the green bottlefly maggot. That's why they're very good at fucking gangrene microsurgery. Just take them out in the meantime before they start turning into adults and start ripping through shit and get you in more trouble. That's why you get them larvae when they fatten up from eating all that. Milk Jar did a video, calling himself Milk Jar's twin bro, and did a video talking about parasites. Oh my god, parasites! They help you. Look at this. Look at this little single cell parasite did to someone with Crohn's. These small trial group with people with Crohn's. Let me tell you what actually happened. Their immune systems and their gut cells and their microbiome stopped fighting each other, attacking and fucking, and started helping each other. Or whatever the fuck root is. They saw an invader, started working together, and that caused a series of chain reaction that led to the healing of the intestinal tract for the majority of the patients that trialed this. And by the way, that single cell parasite was lab grown in an environment where it's only that culture. But the way Augenus spoke about parasites and shit, you would think tapeworms were your friend. Until they fucking came out of a pig's fucking pecker and ass and fucking brain raped your brain and eat holes through it, causing you to die from seizures and gangrene. Fucking eating fucking rotting it away as you fucking lose your soul slipping away to the hereafter. Oh yeah, totally reliable source to fucking listen to about shit. Totally, motherfucker.
Look,
fucking totally. The only reason he's more dangerous than a fucking veg tart is he's actually more immediately dangerous because of shit like that. Fuck that motherfucker.
Want to live, which I would recommend to you all. Heterocyclic.
Don't listen to Joey. I've read the motherfucker. There's a reason it was the first book I decided to get a refund back in 2018 when I purchased a copy of it. In order to get fucking in order to get money to get plumbing pipes, tools and shit, and pipe glue and all that shit, and to fix the water line that comes to my house. By fix, I mean rebuild that motherfucker. Do not listen to Joey with this. That fucker was an idiot. It could kill people with this bullshitting. Kill them. Veg-tards have a chance to wake the fuck up and red pill themselves out of being fucktard and come out of it before they kill themselves through malnourishment and other issues. Even though they may cause themselves long-term damage down the road anyway. But at least they're not going to die from getting fucking eaten alive from within from something. Son of a bitch.
Amines and lipid peroxide are proven carcinogens. Proven. If you don't eat cooked meat, you simply don't get them. Probiotic cultures are also very delicate and cannot live above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, as with virtually all bacteria and yeast. People are afraid of bacteria.
No, they're afraid. They're worried about not getting pathogens. This conflation fallacy is coming through. Joey's been blue pilling himself with fucking Wonder planets.
No, we need bacteria.
Fuck!
We don't have a 4-chamber stomach that can make our own bacteria to digest food. We need the bacteria from the meat to aid in digestion with...
Oh, God. I don't know what to say
would
anymore.
Be preserved in its raw form. Therefore, the cooked meat is way, way less digestible. To bring this all to...
Fucking citation needed? You haven't watched Harry or Bart or Ken or any of them motherfuckers enough. Before, you haven't even... Oh my God. This dude's blue-pilled himself with this furious shit. From Ogenus. Oh my God.
Together and show that what I'm saying is not merely speculative. We can observe that no hunter-gatherers or primitive societies, cultures, eat only cooked meat. So you look back in time, like it's all raw dairy. It's lots and lots of raw meat incorporated into the diet. We're not eating fully cooked meat. This is a new diet. Like I went carnivore because I thought it was the most
cooked meat's been around for 1.8 million years, motherfucker. As far as we know.
Ancestral. It's not.
Fuck.
Eating only cooked meat is not a natural diet by any means. We were eating lots of cooked meat throughout history. This is what humans need to thrive. We need raw meat. So the work of Francis Pottinger is also quite convincing. He, I believe, tested on around 900 cats, gave them either raw dairy and raw meat or pasteurized dairy and cooked meat. And what he found was that the cats were very poorly nourished.
They cannot synthesize taurine. When we get really old, we almost approach cat like ability to produce. Not completely, but we almost get there. Cats never can produce taurine. That's why they put it in your fucking kibble for your cats. And your canned cat food, by the way. That's why they put taurine in it. That's the causal agent in that regard. Are you shitting me?
And very unhealthy when they ate the cooked diets. Now, of course, cats actually require taurine as an essential nutrient and humans don't. So it's very likely that the taurine depletion in the cooked foods.
I've rehearsed this 2 dozen times and it still pisses me off. It still pisses me off as when I first got to this point. Fuck, man. God damn. I can't. I can't even finish the video. I just simply cannot. I physically cannot. And I've tried. I swear to God. This shit just infuriates me. The shit just it genuinely fucking pisses me off, right? It genuinely pisses me off because some of the shit he's peddling is dangerous fucking shit, okay? It's very fucking dangerous. I'm okay with the raw autism shit, some elements of Planets. I'm okay with some of that shit. There's a lot of shit he peddled and said, and he didn't substantiate where it diddle dick. Claimed he did, but didn't cite enough. Made claims and contradict himself almost not on a regular, not all the time, but quite often. Like about sprouts. He said that would kill animals, and that obviously doesn't happen because look at what fucking McCafferty Farms is doing. And there's all kind of shit like that. And I got a whole fucking video. I had a video that's literally now it's going to be 4 years in the fucking making. No, 3 years in the making. Now it's going to be 4 because of 2023 in the making about this shit. No, it's going to be 5 years. I take that back. My God. Oh, wait a minute. 2018, 2019, 2022. Still. It's going to be 5 years in the making now. Going into a fucking rant about this motherfucker and what's said in his book, We Want to Live. So I found the digital scans of it for nothing. And oh my God, the shit he said. I genuinely don't know how to feel about this shit now. This motherfucker has blue pilled himself with autogenous Vondertard. Oh. If you want, I'm going to spoil it for you ahead as I end this video. This generally still pisses me off just like when I first heard him say the shit. All the same. Check the microbiologist presentation on raw milk from Adelaide in 2013, I believe it was. Check that out, okay? There if you go to that for your pro raw milk arguments, because they're solid. The shit's solid, and the shit I'm going to contribute in my own videos about sustainable dairy and eggs. That is coming up. Not immediately, but it's coming up soon. I'm a dude who eats tartare on occasion. I'm going to start figuring out I'm going to start learning how to make my own sashimi to go with medium rare burgers on occasion and do shit like that. Because I want to try it, motherfucker. So I'm not against raw product. But this shit, oh God damn it. I can't even talk no more. I'll see you guys later. This shit pisses me off very badly.